this evening, and sure happy that everyone could come and be with us this evening, especially our graduates. This is a final chapter in a 12-week certification training for Step Up to Leadership, and many of our students take this class for a variety of reasons. I've had people who take it because they would like something special to put on their resume for work, but I've also had people take it because they wanted to do something out of the box for themselves, something different. And some people already have an interest in organizations that they're serving in, and they would like to serve better or broaden how they serve, and we have this mini grant opportunity, and we're really excited that we will have some recipients of the mini grant this evening, and we'll just proceed with the agenda because there's a lot of speeches to be given. Tonight we do have our graduates who have planned their passion speech, and some of them are great speakers who speak all the time, and then some of them have never spoken in public. And so as we all know, that can be kind of a tough thing for people. We do want to start with an invocation from Pastor Everett Crane. If you would please come forward and do that.
You'll have to excuse me, I kind of look like a hillbilly. But this is the way I dress most of the time anyway.
It is, that's how he goes to church.
This is how I go to church. I'm there to serve the Lord. I'm not there to serve anybody else. If y'all don't mind, would you please join me with a word of prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come here today to be with these graduates, and may they be able to take what they've learned here today and go out into the world and help with others and be able to serve in ways that you need them to, Lord, and take your word out and share with others also, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, would you like me to say anything else, or was that it?
Terry wants you to sing a song.
Amazing grace.
That's good.
We can do that after all the festivities.
That's about as far as I get.
Okay, we're going
I can't wait to go to heaven, because then I'll be able to sing.
We're going to go ahead and start with the passion presentations, and these are about 3-minute speeches, and we're going to start just down the row and then wind around and end up here. So they're not going to be alphabetized as your program. They will announce who they are first, and then they will give their passion speech, and we'll go to that point in the agenda there.
That's my cue. I'm Mary Ward, and I'm glad to be here tonight. If it wasn't for Becky and Everett, I wouldn't be, because my cars are ropers. So, yeah. But I want to start off with the definition of passion. It's a strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement for something or about doing something. I retired in 2010, and I was bored to death. And I knew there was more that I could do and that I should do. So I became a caregiver with Home Instead and with Oxford later. I lost 2 patients, and so I decided that maybe I needed to just take a break. My last 2 patients I took care of, both of them died of Parkinson's, and that's a horrible, horrible way, you know, to deal with patients. But I did the best that I could. But I found my passion there in doing that work to help others. I've always been a praying person, and so I started praying for opportunities that would open up for me that I could help someone. My dad always told me that, he was a preacher, and he always told me that there are 3 ways you get a prayer answered: yes, no, or wait a while. My wait a while answer came whenever I received the acceptance to the leadership program. And I was thrilled to death when I went to the first session and we talked about grants, and I thought, oh, well, this is it, man, because I don't have the money to help anyone myself, but I have the opportunity to help someone that I need to help. And so I knew after I got home, after that first session, I started making my plans. I was brainstorming, what can I do? You know, I didn't know how much we were going to be allowed to work with, and so I just made my notes. And the one thing I have really wanted to do ever since I have lived where I am right now is help my neighbor. It's a 78-year-old disabled woman. Her name's Miss Patty, and she has fallen about 4 times in the last year. She walks out on her steps, and she can't make it down 2 steps, and then she has a 16-foot walkway that she has to go down before she steps off her steps onto the sidewalk. So first thing I did in planning, doing my brainstorming, was that I called the city. I called to see if my contractor I had come out and give me an estimate was licensed and bonded. Then I called to see if I needed a permit to have any work done on the property. And then I called the contractor out. I had an estimate made for a handrail from her steps all the way down, 16 foot to her steps that go onto the sidewalk. Her steps are also broken up, so he's going to repair those also, if I get the grant. I continue to pray for opportunities, and I'm so excited I got a call today from the mayor. Because I called and I told him, I said, I need help. And we're always talking about beautifying our neighborhoods, and I said, my neighborhood's not so beautiful. It's the oldest part of town. And I said, I need some help. He called me today about 3 o'clock, said that I've got the city planner. You give me a time when you can get together, and we're going to see what we can do in your neighborhood. So I am tickled to death that I've had the opportunity to deal with Susan and all the guest speakers, and I think I missed your session that you were there, but everything and meeting everybody, it's just been, man, it's just been the best thing that's happened to me so far this year, so I'm looking forward to more. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me comfortably? My name is Catherine Hardage. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be here with you today and with my classmates. It's just been a really wonderful progression, learning how to organize for community action. My passion is sustainability. In 2010, I became aware of the Transition Town movement, which applies principles of permaculture design to cities in order to make them more sustainable. The movement began in 2004 in Totnes, UK, and it was started by Rob Hopkins, author of the Transition Handbook. The author's premise is that due to climate change and peak oil, there will be a need for daily life to be localized. By creating local communities which are self-sustaining, our carbon footprint is lowered. Right now, people in the United States use up an amount of energy which requires the equivalent of 5 times the Earth's resources. By comparison, people in Brazil are living within the limits of one planet's resources. When I began to study permaculture design, I was told that a reasonable way to look at it was to imagine what life was like in the 1950s in the US. That was easy for me because I grew up in the 50s. There are now several hundred transition towns all over the world. Houston was the 40th transition town. There is even a Brazilian favela, where people live in tin shacks on the sides of a mountain, which is a transition town. Local resources can be developed anywhere. In transition towns, people work with one another to supply what their communities actually need. The author describes the way in which communities live by localizing every resource possible, including creating local currency. Local currencies exist in the US as Ithaca Hours in Ithaca, New York, and as Berkshares in the Berkshire community of Massachusetts. There is garden sharing between house and apartment dwellers. There is tool sharing and shared transportation. Food is produced locally. There is solar power and wind energy. Houses are insulated. Work is performed by community members themselves. Parks have nut trees planted for a perennial source of protein. For example, in Seattle, a public food forest has been planted. Each community develops its own resources, utilizing what is already there, and then expanding on what other needs are discerned. When I got together with a group of people to study the transition handbook, there was a skills list at the end of the guide. I determined to acquire as many of the skills as I could. I took an inventory of the skills which I already possessed, and then began to systematically acquire more. I began to appreciate what I knew with a new view towards living a more conscious life of earth stewardship. As I was living in an area of rich resources for workshops, I took as much training as I could. I took Master Naturalist and Master Gardener and Master Composter training. I learned to can food. I learned how to build rainwater catchment of varying sizes. I took alternative building classes and learned how to build an earth bag house and how to create light straw bricks and straw clay insulation and how to plaster with cob. I appreciated the fact that I know how to knit and crochet and sew and quilt. Since moving to Missouri, I have been learning how to weave and spin. I was glad to discover that providing entertainment for each other was an important skill. Making music, drawing, painting, and theater are considered important ways to express oneself in community with others. Dealing with the idea that priorities will shift during what is called an energy descent program requires that one's spirits be kept up to deal with such changes. A Heart and Soul Committee was created for that purpose. I appreciate the fact that most of the skills on the list are homesteading skills, and that here, there is a wealth of resources within the last couple of generations and well within 50 miles. I invite you to fill out a skills inventory for yourself and to share what you know and to learn what you don't. I look forward to participating in the community and to inspiring others to share their skills and to develop local sustainability. Thank you very much.
Hello, I am Christina Arns. I kicked around a bunch of topics. What it boils down to is my one true passion are my children. They're everything. I have 2 great kids. I waited a long time to have them, and I can't imagine my life without them. Being a parent is the hardest job I have ever had, because it is the one that means the most. It's the one that I question every day if I'm doing it well enough. Being a single parent takes it to a whole new level. You know, I alone carry the responsibility for providing for them, to make sure that they have everything they need, and in a good month we can throw a couple of wants in there too. I'm the one that has to help them navigate through adolescence, to teach them right and wrong. It's my job to give them the freedom to grow, to learn personal responsibility, yet keep them close enough to keep them safe. And that is the one thing that I find is very difficult to me, because they call me a helicopter. I tend to hover. And I'm trying to get better about that. It's a really tough balancing act. Kids now have so many outside influences that weren't there when I was a child. They've got their TV, their movies, video games, internet, social media. It's just, it's crazy. So I figured all I can do is remember the things that I have taught them through words and actions, and hope. That's my big word, is hope. Hope that they make good life choices. Hope that they know that I love them always and they can come to me with anything. Hope that they become adults who are happy and who give back to society. Hope that they find true love. Hope that they find a fulfilling career. Hope that they remember to surround themselves with people who love them and to make sure that they spend quality time with those people. Hope that they never forget where they come from. Hope that they take time to give back to their community, and hope that they truly learn from their life experiences. Because my kids have not had an easy life. They've been through a lot. They've been uprooted and moved across the country. They've dealt with death, poverty, and even homelessness. But we've come through it. It's been rough. There have been some problems, some major problems, some requiring professional help. We've had arguments. We've had name-calling. We've had defiance. We've had tears. But at the end of the day, the overriding emotion in our house is love. These two people over there, I'm gonna point them out, they make me crazy. They make me angry. They make me cry, but most of all, they make me laugh. And for all of their faults, they are smart, funny, talented human beings who genuinely care about other people. And they are the greatest joy of my life. And I am so truly happy and so extraordinarily proud to be their mom. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Corley Bourne, and my passion is quilting, as some of you know. I use quilting as therapy, as a lot of people do. We turn to it to concentrate on design and to forget our worries and concern at the time. Also, it brings us socialization with others and companionship for ideas. And you feel your self-worth because in the end, you have a blanket of love. And also a lot of us turn to quilting because it's a lasting effort, unlike washing dishes, laundry, and cleaning house. And so in quilting, I'm going to give you how to quilt. Anyone can quilt. All you need is a needle and thread, leftover old jeans, t-shirts, you name it. The poorest have quilted because they needed warmth and love. Warmth for love. And then you can go to the newest fabric shop and get the highest dollar too. There are many ways to make a quilt, by hand or machine or by both, and there's unlimited ways to do it. Each quilt has its own design, as each of us are unique. It is our self-expression that you give to others. And if you give the same material to two people, you'll end up with totally two different quilts. And when I say when life gives you scraps, make a quilt. I've done numerous times. The kids wonder where I was at. Like I say, anyone can make a quilt. A blind woman has made over 500 quilts. She's totally blind. Her friend Diana Rose of Texas. And then there was the G-bin quilts that were made by African American women early in an isolated village, which had become popular in museums today, they're famous for. And then also it can create a community. There's Jenny Doan of Hamilton, Missouri. Her kids bought her a quilting machine, and she has revived the town with hers. And so, I am a quilter. My house is in pieces. But from the pieces of patchwork blanket, I make quilts. And the uses for quilts, there's live giving to the community. There's Project Linus. I've sent quilts without borders. We've sent quilts to whoever needs a blanket of love. Firemen give them, you give them to burn victims. So there's no one that cannot quilt and benefit from it. High school students have done it, it's proven. So, and you have a very useful thing in the end that lasts a long time. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Glenn, and I have lots of passions, but they all center around one big passion. And my passion is serving others through the love of Jesus in whatever way I can. And one way that I do this is through what is called Operation Christmas Child. And this I brought back to my church 2 years ago. It had been done, but then it had kind of got set aside and wasn't done for a while. And I just happened to run across the material, and I thought, oh, this is awesome, I want to do this. And so 2 years ago, this will be our third year come in November, and my church is doing it. And what Operation Christmas Child is it's a yearly event that's put on by Samaritan's Purse, which is a Christian organization to help others across the world. And each year, during November, through participating churches, Samaritan's Purse collects shoe boxes. And these boxes are filled with items like school supplies, personal hygiene, little toys, and they go from all ages up to the age of 14, I think it is. And these boxes then are gathered and they are distributed to children in third world countries. Now, along with these boxes, the children are also supplied with the story of Jesus. And which in turn, they turn around and share with their families. And it is estimated that one Operation Shoebox can reach a minimum of 6 people, which is amazing. One little shoebox. And last year, I was blessed with the chance to meet a young man who had received an Operation Shoebox Christmas child. His name was Alex. He was from Rwanda. He's a grown man now. But he was 9 years old when he received his first shoebox. He had survived the genocide that had happened in Rwanda. Unfortunately, he had watched his family be massacred, but he had managed to escape. Hearing his tale just brought this all so home to me, and meeting him in person. He was a lovely, lovely gentleman. And listening to his story, I can't help but do this now. He told about how this little box filled with love changed his entire life. It actually helped him through getting to know Jesus Christ to be able to forgive the men that killed his family. He actually went to Rwanda. He lives in the States now, but he went back to Rwanda, met with one of them has already passed away, but met with one of them and forgave him in prison. That is a testament to God's love. The greatest thing that is said by children that get this shoebox is, it's nice to know that someone loves me that has never met me. Because these children are almost all orphanages, or orphans in orphanages. And, but since there's little time, I can stand here all night and talk about this, I'm so passionate about it. You can always go on the internet to Samaritan's Purse, or just type in Operation Christmas Child to learn more about the project, or you can come see me. I'll be happy to get you hooked up. And I think it's a very dear and important thing that we do. We reach these children in third world countries. We provide them with the story of Jesus Christ. We let them know they are loved. Whether we've met them face to face or not, they are loved, because we all need love. And that's what life's about. Thank you for your time.
And they are good. I've done that. Well, I got here before it started tonight, so that's pretty good for me. Because I'll be late to my own funeral. My passion is a lot of things, but I want to start out about goals. According to the Webster's College Dictionary, a goal is the end toward which effort is directed. I've had several goals in life. Some have been achieved, and others are still in the making. But all of them boil down to being successful in all areas of life. People often ask me why I went to college for a business degree when I already had my own business. And the reply I'd like to answer with is, well, that I'm trying to get my hairdresser's license. I only failed a couple times. Sooner or later, I'll get it. And they often look stunned, and then I told them the truth. I went to college because I wanted to earn a business degree. At the time, I wanted to be a general manager for ProCats. There was no specific college requirements. I just felt that it would make me successful in the job and in life. Even though I did not receive that job, I still finished my degree. I felt that a business degree would help me with any profession or goal that I want to conquer. My degree did help me manage, organize, and successfully run my life and my business. Often, I felt too tired to go on. I mean, I am 50 years old now. And I'm running a family, working at a food bank, at WeCare, raising 3 foster kids, helping raising my grandkids. But if you want to succeed in life, you have to take a licking and keep on taking. Every day in life, it has a purpose. Some days will be good and some bad. But they all will teach you something. And you may not understand that lesson that has been taught until you are older. And eventually, you will understand it. You have to trust God and you have to work hard. Some of my goals that I want to succeed with are getting my new children raised properly, my grandkids raised, running our church ministry. We joined a church not too long ago, had 4 people the night we went. They'd been praying for somebody to bring some kids there. They just didn't know I was going to be Crazy Becky. We now had our first Bible school last year, and we had 48 kids. First Bible school in 20 years. They never had a church bus. We bought a bus, and we now are able to pick up kids for that. And I also want to feed the world. I don't think in today's society anybody should ever be hungry. We throw away too much food, and there's so many people out there that need food. And every day I hope to get closer to achieving that goal. I know I can't feed the world, but I sure would like to try, because kids should never be beat. Yes, punished, especially that one right there, but not beat. But they should be fed. The world has so many hungry people, and sometimes they just need a little help and maybe talk to and guide people in the right direction. When you come to our food bank, you don't just get handed a box of food. You get prayed with. You get to shop for your food. We're there to help you in any ways that we can. And maybe some of us know resources that you don't know. It all starts with caring and giving a helping hand and guidance. We Care helps provide and achieve goals with people by just giving them food. When goals are achieved, we can't do anything without God. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lucy Bird, and I've changed my mind 20 times because I'm random. But I realized that my passion is self-sufficiency. And I've had times in my life where there was plenty, and I've had times in my life where there wasn't much of anything. And I learned that I could live without money, but I couldn't live without things. And I learned that if I learned how to do it myself, that I didn't have to depend on another person to do it for me. So I learned how to cook. Actually, my mom taught me. It was part of the DNA. You had to cook, you had to sew, and you had to learn how to clean. And so my mom taught me those skills, and so did my dad. My dad taught me how to run a garden. And so in times in my life, in my marriage, when things got rough and my husband lost his job and I was at home with 5 kids and had to figure out what we're going to do, I learned how to do it myself, learned how to plant the garden myself, learned how to make bread from scratch myself with our own wheat, learned how to cook everything from scratch, I think I said that, and I learned how to make the kids' clothes and make our own quilts. And the passion that I have about that is that I realized if I can do this, there's lots of people that can do this, and so my passion is spreading that and helping teach other people. I work with a women's group at church, and we have monthly or quarterly meetings, and we help each other, we teach each other. We learn how to can with a water bath, with a pressure canner, so that we could take care of abundant harvests. We learned how to dehydrate our food and make meals. We learned how to make freezer meals. Anyway, that's my passion, is learning how to do it, as my niece says, by yourself, so that you're not dependent on others. And when we reach out into the community and learn how to help the community be self-sufficient through a CSA, which is a community-supported agriculture, where people pool their money to give the farmer, and they get their weekly allotment through the summer. The whole 6 months of the gardens are running, you get your allotment of your share of the vegetables. And I think that's a fabulous way that communities can work together, because not everyone has time or the inclination or the desire to do it. And when we pool together, we can become more self-sufficient. We know where our food's coming from. That was another reason why we went into self-sufficiency, is I needed to know where the food was coming from with children with pretty interesting food allergies. And so I needed to know we couldn't open a box or a can or whatever. We had to know the plant that came from, so we didn't make a child sick. Anyway, that's my passion. I'm pretty excited about it, and I love sharing information about it. Thanks.
You turn.
Oh. Well, I just bought this paper here. Everybody wrote something down, and they caught me off guard. But my passion is leadership. And she only gave me 3 minutes, but I did wear a coat, so somebody might have to pull my coattail. I don't want to make you happy twice. You see me happy when I stand up and be more so happy when I sit down. Leadership. Why is it my passion? Leadership is the ability to lead people in such a way to gain their trust and their respect and to accomplish whatever you set out to do. That's leadership. Unbeknownst to me, I've been a leader all my life. Military, one leadership school to another. Even on the job at the auto industry, one leadership class to the other. Even in the town, in the city, in the state of which I lived in, it always has been leadership. And always has been in leadership classes. I'm going to explain that to you later. And the thing is about leadership is the fact is, don't want to be a leader to be somebody, but a leader is a person that really have a passion and want to accomplish some things, some good things for, not only for yourself, it's not about you, it's about those of whom you serve. In my passion for leadership has taken me a mighty long way. I might sound braggadocious for a minute, but it took me from this, working with the school board, working with the city, the state, and district organizations. Matter of fact, I love leadership so much as on a few occasions I was approached and offered a job through the State Board of Education, in working in the educational field. But I declined because I learned through leadership I could have did more where I was than I was sitting there. Because you don't have to hold a title. You don't have to sit in a certain position to be a great leader. I was offered a job not only in the school board, but also I was offered to run for political office. I declined, once again. Because of the simple fact is, being in those positions would not allow me to do the things that I desire to do so much more now. And so that is why, and many of you said, this is my last statement, I hope it is anyway. Step up to leadership was important to me. Matter of fact, what happens in step up leadership classes, I had to tone myself down because some folks thought I was trying to teach the class, not to remember who I was. I was there as a participant, and I wasn't the facilitator. So I had to be quiet a little bit and let people do their job. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all thought I knew everything. The fact is, the problem was I need to keep my mouth closed. Same about leadership. You got to know what battles to pick. Which to fight, which not to fight. You have to know the groups you're dealing with, the people you're talking with, the diameter of the whole community or state in which you're working in. Leadership is very important. If you ever want to make things better in your home, yes, I did say leadership starts at home. You want to make things better in your home, you want to make things better on your job, you want to make things better in the community in which you lead. Leadership is very important. And no one needs to enter into the field of leadership because everyone is not a leader. And the reason why this class is so important to me, some of those things which I have lost or I've forgotten about kind of wake me up to the true responsibility of my duties and helps me, encourage me to carry out my passion to continuously practice and also to be a great leader throughout the community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Bird, and I think one of the things that I am quite passionate about are older styles or heritage breeds of animals and crops. Around here, you drive around, and there are lots of turkey houses, chicken houses, cattle fields, and you look and all the cattle are black or sometimes brown. All the chickens and turkeys and whatnot are white. There's a rabbit farm near where we live, and all their rabbits are white. Everything's one color. Because if it's white, it's easy to clean at the processor, and if it's a black cow, it's an Angus. That's just how it is, doesn't matter what it is, if it's black, it's Angus. And I see that a lot also in the, with crops like wheat. A lot of people grow the same kind of wheat. Everyone grows yellow corn, white, those big russet potatoes, that's what everyone grows. And this started when I was a young child. I think I was like 8 or 9, and I got a hold of a copy of, I don't even remember what company, but it was I think it was a Murray McMurray chicken catalog, and they had all kinds of different chickens. I mean, they have great big 13-pound chickens. They've got little bitty, half-pound chickens. They've got chickens that lay dark brown eggs with black speckles. They've got white eggs, light brown eggs. They've got a chicken that lays blue and green eggs. And that started that for me. And as I've gone on, I started planting a garden, and I discovered that there were all different things I could grow that were all different colors. One year I grew some popcorn that was all different colors, blue, green, everything. I'm trying to think of all the different things. I bought cotton this year that grows bright green cotton. All the way, it starts out at tan, works its way through lime green, grass green, a nice dark green like this, all the way down to a kind of a deep sea blue. And I just love it. I've been looking into raising wool sheep lately, and about the only sheep I'd ever seen were those black-faced white sheep. And like the other day I went and bought a ram all the way in Everton. And he is a color that I haven't seen before. He's kind of a steel gray, kind of almost a dark blue, kind of. And I've looked up that color, and it's actually kind of a hard color to find, which was pretty interesting. But one time I watched a documentary about, I don't remember what it was about. It was about food, I think. But they had a little blip about the Irish potato famine. And the problem with the Irish potato famine is everyone was growing the same variety of potato. Because when you propagate potatoes, you're propagating them vegetatively. And so every potato is basically a piece of the same plant. So they're basically all the same plant. And the problem was there was one disease that came in, and it hit everyone. It just wiped them out because they were all raising the same thing. And they went back through history and discovered that the same thing had happened about that time in the Andes Mountains, where potatoes originally come from. There was a somewhat large blight there, but it was not nearly so big because everyone there grew a different, like each farmer grew like at least 3 different kinds of potatoes there. And it was just simply having that big a variety that saved them, because it was just a weather pattern that year made it, made conditions right for that blight to come through, and it just hit everywhere. So, yeah, it's really good to have a variety of things that you grow, because not everything works in the same place. So, thank you.
My name is Sarah Bird, and my passion is music and art, and I kind of want to mix them together, because I think they kind of go together. In band, I played the flute, and band has changed my life a lot. We had a good teacher, and she taught us lots and lots of things. There was a movie that I used to watch when I was little, and it has this guy would walk on the stage, and he had this violin, and he would start playing, and he said, "My music is," I'm trying to think. I paint with my music, and there was no other talking, and you'd see the colors on the screen. And then he would start playing, and so the music and the art would go together. I started music when I was little. My grandpa used to play an Indian flute, and he would sing to us all the time. And so I learned to love music. With music you can make people feel. One year we played the Avengers, and for that you need for people to feel like, oh my, I want to go home and watch that, or this is so cool. You have to put dynamics to make that push. Same way with art. To make people like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing I've ever seen. You have to put those colors, you have to put in those details. I think the easiest one to say is Van Gogh. Van Gogh put enough color and enough details in what he did. And today people are still going, wow. People also put memories in music and in art. When I would listen to the Beatles or Enya or Johnny Cash, it would bring memories of people or about my childhood. When I would listen to Enya, I could remember things I couldn't remember now. Music and art also helps relieve stress. I like playing and I like painting a lot. Painting is something I do to relieve stress and just kind of escape from what I do, from life. Beethoven and Mozart are two of my favorite classic composers. They're the ones that were determined enough that their music was the best, and that it's like I learned about kind of like Beethoven, some music classes, and he had a hard life. He was deaf and he was still writing music. A lot of people didn't like it, but there were some that people did. Two of my favorites is Ode to Joy and Fiore Elise. That's where I hear kind of like passion, what he was passionate about. And you can hear it in his music. You can also feel what you felt. That's what I like.
We haven't run out of time? I was hoping to be last, just in case I'd get rushed out. As you can see, my computer sort of went halfway down, so I had to do the old kind of cut and paste. But I was lucky, I did find a little bit that had been done on the computer. My name is Amanda, and I'm scared to death of it. But I do want to thank Susan, our guest speaker, Mike, I believe it is. I'm sorry, I forgot your last name. Yates. It was wonderful. I learned a lot. And I want to thank each and every one of my fellow classmates. It was wonderful to get to know you, and I loved hearing about your passions. And I plan to use each and every one of you for my plan. You're all going to be great resources. I hope you'll help. Let's see where I got started here. My passion has to do with information and knowledge. Whether it's telling someone how to get to the grocery store or guiding someone to find out how they can get heat in the dead of winter, information is crucial to all of us. We all get into rough situations, and it really doesn't matter whether it was by your poor choices or circumstances. There should always be people and ways that we can help ourselves, and hopefully people that'll stand by and give us the moral and mental support we need. I have to take a deep breath. We actually have a lot of information all around us from the moment that we're born. We have security, love, and we're learning constantly. That grows into family, into friends, into your community, goes up into the city, the county, so forth and so on. We have all that knowledge. But unfortunately, none of us know all and everything that's out there. I was just looking at a couple of the bigger organizations. I was shocked to find out that I had never known certain organizations can give you job training. Another organization is willing to come out free and give you lectures on, say, basic aid, first aid, something that would be good for any community to know. What I had put down for this, I do plan to complete sometime in my life. Just can't be this minute. But my goal for it would be to give information and educational knowledge that inspires people to take action to improve their quality of life and that of others in the world. It's really important that we all think of each other as a brother and sister. I had a brother, and we were totally opposite. We fought constantly about everything, but we were still there for each other. There's unfortunately people out there that are difficult for me to be around, but I learned from my husband's mother that it's really important to try to find the goodness that each and every one of us has inside. I had to use my grandkids' crayons because my printer is down, but my little organization would be Helpful Information Terminal. One of the reasons that I wanted information is I've been having a long fight with the VA concerning a lot of different matters. A lot of it I can't get into at this point, but I have collected a lot of information for people who are having problems with the DAV, or not DAV, with the Veterans Association. How to get that information. I'm already passing some of that out to people that are in similar situations. But we have so much information. We need to have a central point where someone can keep it updated, and everybody can have access to it. Now, I'm thinking of a very small community, my city, Granby, which is really a great community. It's filled with a lot of wonderful people who care about others. I see people in their different groups doing other things, where the group might be a quilting group, a religious group, or just friends helping friends. There's a group, I believe it's the Lions, they give out free glasses to people. When Dixie, I'm probably going to say her name wrong, it's either Hayes or Haas, when she was ill and she was getting ready to pass on, people stepped up. There was someone who finished her history of Granby, all her newspaper clippings that she wanted done before she passed. Other people, such as the Newtonia Quilting Guild, a couple people from Granby, made quilts for everybody in the Granby house. There's a lot of good things that get done all the time. I saw Suzanne giving a class on making baskets, I think it was. Fantastic. Wish I would have known about it a little earlier. That's one thing I find that's hard, is so much happens just in my own city that I am not aware of. So I have ideas of how to change things. Over the last 15 years, for myself and others, well, basically I've covered that. I want to say that all of us, we all have talents. We all have something that we can offer other people. And I would like to take advantage of my city, Granby, of all of you, to find out where you can help me, what I can write down, how we can teach. I think Catherine's plan of using more of the environment is great. Lucy, I know, wants to help and teach everybody. You're already in that position. And now I think I've gotten my 3 minutes in. Haven't I? Thank you, and I love you all.
We're at the point on the program where we're going to have our keynote speaker, Jim Jackson, but I wanted to also make note that before the closing prayer after Jim, I do have diplomas to hand out, and we failed to get that on the program. So I'd like to thank Jim for coming and spending your valuable time with us. It means a lot. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and it's so nice to come to an event where I don't have to talk about politics. I tell you, I want to compliment each and every one of you. Outstanding job. You did a lot better job than a lot of the politicians I've heard this past week, for sure. I used to teach at Crowder College for 11 years as well, and I know that's one of the hardest things to do, to get up and talk in front of people. You're a little nervous as well. But you know, when you personalize your speech, it makes it so much easier, and it's interesting as well. And you all did a tremendous job. Thank you. I've learned a little bit about each and every one of you, and I'll probably use that in the speech tonight, especially with quilting. And you're thinking, how does this old guy know anything about quilting? Well, I'll tell you here a little bit, because it's an interesting story. Think about this for just a minute tonight. Getting involved in your community. Think about that. Getting involved in your community. That is a very powerful message. Just think, your community. It's your home, it's your security blanket, your family, your friends, where you work and you live and you play. And it takes just one person to get involved to make a difference. Think about that. I'll come back to that in a minute. I was thinking when Suzanne had asked me to come speak, and I said, Lordy B, what do I talk about? You know, you go back of some of life's experiences, and let's go back to the dark ages. 50 years ago, I was in high school. You know, I'm a little older than some of you all, but think about some of the things. It was pretty rough 50 years ago. We didn't have computers. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. Dr. Yates is laughing and says, yeah, I can relate to this, you know. It was pretty rough. And TV, we had, what, 3 channels to watch if we were lucky. No remote control. But I was the remote control in my house because my dad would say, son, get up and change the channel. You know, there were only 3 channels to take part in. But, you know, some of the things, you know, when I was in high school, I was like, you know, some of you all, and that's going to be in high school someday. I was involved in athletics. You know, I wrestled and I played baseball, and I was involved in just about every organization you could imagine. You know, I was busy, you know, in setting kind of the groundwork. I went on to college, to Central Missouri State in Warrensburg, and I had a business scholarship and I had an athletic scholarship. You know, back then I had muscles, but that was 50 years ago almost. Now I have furniture disease, where my chest is down in my drawers, you know, but that's another story. But anyway, when I went to college, you know, I had the business scholarship, athletics, but I ended up majoring in pizza. Yes, I'm going to tell you, my PhD is in pizza. And it's a nice way of saying I didn't apply myself during that time. And during that period in American history, Vietnam was still underway. And the only lottery that I ever won, Dr. Yates can relate to this as well, was the draft lottery. My number was 27. I saw the writing on the wall. I joined the Navy instead. Best thing for me. And guess where they sent me? Vietnam and Cambodia. Now I go down to Kenny Mayer at Galaxy Sea and Tours, and he's promoting, come see exotic Vietnam and Cambodia, you know, cruise the rivers. And I'm going, I I don't think so, Ben, but I appreciate the offer as well. When I got out of the military, I came back, my folks had settled in northeast Oklahoma, down at Grove, where my mom's originally from, and I came back and I came back to finish college. I'd applied myself this time, I learned from my mistakes, and I went to work in a little radio station in McDonald County. Anyone here from McDonald County? Southwest City. Down there, had a little radio station, it's not there anymore, and I go back each year to host the big gospel sing. I love that. I've done that every year since 1977. But there's nothing like going to Mack County. I'm not making fun of this, but you stand on a stage where there's in front of 5,000 people, and they all have watermelon and chicken up to their mouths at the same time. I'm there too, but it's always a lot of fun to go back to Southwest City. And the good Lord led me to was at a revival one night in Southwest City, and I'd met a gentleman who just happened to know the news director at Channel 12 in Joplin. Got me an interview and did a demo tape, but he didn't hire me at Channel 12. Because in the summer of 1980, I went to work at KSNF, Channel 16. And I went to work on a Monday. The next day, they said, would you like to anchor the news? I said, sure, why not? You know? Well, I remained in that position for 32 years. And believe me, ladies, TV is more than just putting on makeup and reading the news. But after, I'd done it so long, I figured, well, I've worn enough more makeup than some of the young ladies that have been alive, so it was a big change. But what I'm getting at, during that time, I was involved in so many different organizations, Pooled Here United Way, Boys and Girls Club, the Children's Miracle Network, and my quilting story is this. We used to have an ugly tie contest. Ken Ford and I, send us your ugly ties, and some of the ladies in Joplin would make a nice quilt to donate and raffle off to help the children and their families in the 4 states. We wore ties from back in the 1940s. I thought, these aren't too bad, and styles kind of come around. I was wanting to take some of those home, but we had a great time with that. So, and dealing with children, and I did that for 20 years, hosting the telethon, something that I always enjoyed. And I did teach out at Crowder College, 11 years during that time. I had to get 2 girls through college, and they both, happy to say, went to Crowder and on to Mizzou. And now they're just housewives, and I have a lot of grandkids, and I'm very happy, with that. They're happy and healthy, and another one is on the way. In 2012, I said, well, enough is enough with broadcasting. I'd spent 35 years, and took a leap of faith, and I ran for public office, something I'd always wanted to do. And I ran for county commission in Newton County, and I was elected. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, I was elected and up for re-election this time. But with that as well, with the county commission, we serve on 23 different type committees, split up 3 ways. I serve on the Extension Council. I'm on the Board of Directors for Economic Security. Jim Modi, who used to do sports with us, is the president. I'm the vice president of the committee. There's so many different organizations, environmental issues, things that I love to get involved with. And there's that old saying when you tell kids, you're never too old to learn, which is a lot of truth to that. And I know you ladies and gentlemen as well, from what I've heard tonight, you have a passion. You have to have a passion about something in life, and I really enjoy still learning. And as I look back on my life, I'm in my mid-60s now, and it's one of those things where I've always volunteered, got involved, and I probably always will, something I always enjoy. And just remember what I said, it takes one person to get involved, to make a difference in your community, and that person could very well be you. Because remember, at the end of the day, when you turn out the lights, it's a good feeling to know that you made a difference in the life of someone in your community or your church. And it's a good feeling to have to know that you've done your part to make a difference and make your community a better place to live. Thank you so much for the invitation tonight. I appreciate this. I wish there was more people here because these were tremendous speeches. Thank you so much. God bless.
Well, we're all here supporting one another anyway, so and we had more on the agenda to show up, and I guess a lot of them couldn't make it. But it is now time to get your certifications. And I'm just going to do this randomly because I haven't scrolled up. Also, you might have noticed, I wanted to say a special thank you to, we had donations of these plants from Walmart and Lowe's and Beck Floral and Fawcett Greenhouse. And I'd like to point out that that was a very kind thing for them. And also, a special thank you to Christina because she ramrodded all those donations and picked up most of them. I picked up a couple, but that worked out great. Okay, my first certification here is Mary Ward. You're right here. We'll stand up.
You bet. I'm gonna work on it, how's that?
I'm gonna make you work more. Yes, you have work.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Here.
I appreciate it.
And then we have, well, Carolyn Bird. Carolyn is very sick tonight. How many has she missed? Is this just 2? Okay, she still gets it. Oh. Can I go ahead and give it to you? Okay. Yeah, I think she's only missed one other time, and unfortunately she was not well tonight. Okay, and then one didn't make it. We've got Coralie Bourne. I convinced her to take this class. Okay, Lucy Bird. It did exercise. The Bird family did the catering, so you're in for a treat tonight after this. Monica Hupp. Okay, Terry Davis. Terry did a great job keeping his strong personality way low. It's really good. Okay, Becky Crane. And Joseph Bird. I always appreciate having some youth in the class, and they did an awesome job. Christina Arns. And Sarah Bird. Music and art. I love music and art too. Deborah Glenn. And Catherine Hardage. Thank you. All right. At this time, we will have a blessing on the food by Deborah Glenn, one of our students. And yes. Oh, my goodness. I know, but never mind.
That's not important.
Thank you.
Just waiting for the surprise.
It's not on here. It's not on here, is it? No. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Well, there was a couple of things we missed on the program. No, Leslie has many grants going on. Thank you. Appreciate that.
There's no good, polite way to interrupt. Well, it has been a pleasure listening to all your speeches, and I was paying attention. You probably seen me writing. I was taking notes. I learned a lot from a lot of your speeches and had ideas, and really kind of made me think, I need to do some of this stuff. I need to look some of that stuff up. So I appreciate coming tonight and listening to all that you had to offer. We had some individuals apply for the mini grants this year. We had 3 apply. And our first award goes to Mary. Mary is going to help an elderly neighbor. are, and she talked about that in her speech this evening. It was a pleasure to read your grant, and we're fully funding your
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, our next award winner is Becky. Becky, she talked a little bit about it in her speech as well. She volunteers at We Care of the 4 states. And she's going to purchase a freezer or refrigerator for their pantry. Thank you very much. And our last award is Terry. Now Terry, he didn't talk about it in his speech, but he wants to do a youth project at a church, Unity Missionary Baptist Church. Do some sporting events for youth and have a meal each Wednesday night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great, thank you.
If you could all stand, please. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening together. Thank you for the last 12 weeks of learning, growing, making new friends, sharing, and fellowship. I ask your blessings upon each and every student, that we may take what we have learned and use it to help others. I pray your blessings upon each and every one here tonight, and a hedge of protection for safe travels as we leave here. I ask your blessing upon the food we are about to receive, and on the hands that prepared it. We give you the thanks in Jesus' wonderful name. Amen.
All right, and the food is over there. Please help yourselves.